Welcome to this video. This is part one of what I'm calling the Bally Playfield Designer program. I'm a big fan of the Bally games from the late 70s, early 80s, the solid state era. And if you're familiar with that sort of pantheon of games from that era, you've probably recognized that a lot of those games have similar layouts. I'm cycling through some games here. Not every game uses or reuses playfield layouts, but there are quite a few that utilize similar elements. Obviously, some of them are very unique that are not generalizable, like this is Medusa. Silver Ball Mania is a very unique one. Star Trek is very unique. But there are other ones like Viking, Playboy, Rolling Stones, even Harlem Globetrotters has some similar features. And Matahari, and maybe even a little bit of Strikes and Spares. A lot of these games actually have very similar layouts, or at least sections of the layouts are very similar. Now, obviously, all these games are of a particular era, and so there aren't going to be any more games made like this. But if you're a big fan of these games, it occurred to me that we could generalize some of these features that you see that are common to a lot of these different games, and then create a software program, which you see over here on the right. Create a software program that sort of takes these generalized features and allows you to essentially turn them on and off to create, not just create or replicate the existing games, but maybe think about how you might create new games that have the look and feel of these older Bally games. So how does this work? All right, I'm going to put a link in the description, but you can download this code from GitHub. It'll include these files here. There's going to be a Python script, Bally Playfield Designer Python script. There's also an executable script. You'll have to edit this to match your own directory structure, but essentially you would double click on this. Let me first show you. Also, we have a library of DXF components here. You double click on this, and it's going to pop up this window, and it's going to give you the option to add a DXF, and you can pull that DXF from this library. And so there's a whole library of components that we can pull from. We can add more. Let's see. We'll just add all of these. It's going to be kind of messy, but we'll just add everything. All right. Okay, so these are all the components that I've sort of generalized that you can find common to a lot of these different games. And you can essentially either recreate an older game or create a new game by simply turning on and off each of these individual components. And then once you have a design that you like, you can export a CSV file that is a list of these components, and then at some future point you could import that list back into this program, or you could export it as a DXF to go into your other workflows. All right, well, we don't need all these components just yet, but let me show you what we can do. I've preloaded a subset of these components, and let's see how we would maybe recreate a game like, let's try recreating Viking to start. Actually, instead of Viking, let's start with Matahari. So I have an image here on the left. Basically, it's the Playfield layout of Matahari that someone has drawn up for Visual Pinball. But I'm using that layout to basically show me which components I need to turn on and off here. So let's start turning on and off components until we get to what should be a Matahari here. So let's see. Keep that one. Keep that. Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, we need that. All right, yeah, we need those lanes. Let's see. And we're just going to basically just turn off all the things that we don't want, and we should be left with Matahari at the end. Yeah, we don't need that middle lane. Yeah, no target, no drop. Okay. All right. Actually, we do need some of these extra drops there. Yeah, we need that. Next, there's a 4-drop here. 4-drop, 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 4-drop. And you can see the relationship between the thumper and the drop. Thumper, drop. And we have 4 of them. Okay. All right. So the basic game flow of this is that you can shoot up this side lane, then up and over, or this side lane up and over. You can also shoot up the middle into this VUK, got a VUK there, or saucer. And then we have 2 lanes, and then the thumpers, these 4 thumpers in this pattern like this, and then the drop targets on the side. Okay, so this is Matahari. Now if I wanted to, I could take this and I could go export CSV, put it in a CSV file, and you can see I already have a Matahari here. But you could add that to your files if you want it, or you can modify it and save it as something else. All right. Now for Matahari, a lot of these things are similar to Viking. All right, because Viking, let's go down to Viking. All right, you see that Viking has this this right shooter lane. It's a 3 bank here. It's a different type of bank than that one, and no thumper, just 2 thumpers in the middle. It has this lane here, but it has inline targets. All right, so let's, in the saucer and the lanes up here are the same, but there's a VUK or saucer here. All right, and there's also some thumpers on here. All right, so let's see what we could do to make a Viking. All right, Oh yeah, so we need that lower thumper, lower thumpers. We need that lane, we need that lane. We need this upper piece with the saucer. Yeah, we'll add that. Need that. All right, so this is the drop target we want there. We have our inlines. Yeah, there's a target here. We've got that. The spinner. We need the thumper. Need that thumper. And we've got a different set of out lanes here, or return out lanes. Let's see. All right, so these are Viking specific out lanes. You also see this on Centaur as well. All right, where are we here? B. Okay, all right, and what about these down here? Yeah, we don't need that, don't need that, we don't need that. Yeah, we don't need these drops. Yeah, we don't need that thumper, don't need that thumper. And there is this little in-lane sort of rollover, not quite a turnaround, but there's a little rollover right there that you see here, here. All right, so how does that look? All right, we got our lower thumpers, our out lanes. We have our inline things here with a target, 2 thumpers, the spinner here, and our VUK and our outlines. Okay, so now we're at Viking, and you can see that it was as simple as just turning on and off a couple of common features. All right, so that's Viking. Now, what about, let's look at Playboy. Playboy is also similar, except it has more drops here. This center thumper replaces that spinner. It's got the same little turnaround. The inline, this lane is here, except you access it from the top, and there's a little VUK with a kicker here. And then this top lane is a little bit different. All right, so let's see if we can make that. All right, so what do we need here? We don't need those. Don't need that lower thumper. We still need that. We don't need that. Yeah, don't need those. We kind of need that. We still need that wall. All right, we still need this drop target. We need to add more drop targets to that. Still need that turnaround. We don't need the inline. We do need these targets. We're going to add some targets in between there. All right, we don't need that VUK, but we do need the lane in the middle there. And we don't need the spinner. We need those. Let's see. Yeah, we don't need those targets. Let's see what else we got there. Yeah, we do need this. Don't need that. Okay, now we added, let's see where we at here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 5, and we need one more. Okay, we need those out lanes up there. The center target, thumper. Okay, and we do have a different set of flippers and out lanes. need that gate right there. Need that target. Okay, and here's the other targets. These 5 in a row. And this other drop here. All right, so it's a five bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 5 bank. Now, not everything's included here. So you see, there's a post right here. This is going to need a post there, but I don't include that because it loses the generalization if you try to put a post on each one of these things here. All right, so I think that's it. So, and in the real game, there's a little kickback here. The ball would come up through this thing and then down, and it gets kicked back up to this gate and comes through these lanes. So we got everything here. We got the top lanes, this thumper orientation here, our out lanes, and then these targets on this side. And then there's a target here and a thumper and this little turnaround. Okay, so now this is Playboy. And you notice that we kept a lot of similarities between Viking and also Matahari. A lot of the same geometries in there. All right. Okay. We're gonna do one more. Let's do Rolling Stone. All right. Let's find Rolling Stone. Let's find a reference image here. Okay. All right. So we can see already these like 3 thumpers and a target. Already the same. It has this side drop, except that it's a 4 instead of a 5. And it looks to me like we're losing this bottom one here to that little turnaround. So we need to add these turnarounds, take out the targets, and then we're going to put a saucer here and a little ramp shot there. And the top lanes are the same, and also there's some targets here. All right, so let's see if we can do that. All right, so what do we got here for Rolling Stone? All right, so we need a saucer. Yeah, we don't need that. We need the saucer. Yeah, we don't need that. We might need that one. Yeah, we don't need that turnaround. Yeah, don't need these targets. Need that. Yeah, we need these thumpers. Okay, now we need these targets up here, so those are included. We need those targets, but we need to take out that gate. Okay, there's a little inline drop here that we have. That's added there. We need to fix that little wall there. All right, this wall, turn around here, turn around there. Yeah, we need that little bumper. All right, so now we're down to 4, so we got the right number there. We need that. We need that. Okay. All right, so what are we missing here? All right, looks like we got everything, but we need to take out some of these targets. So where are those targets located? Let's see. Oh, maybe they're here. Yeah, there's the gate, target, target. And what is this? And we need that one. We need that one because we have 4. Okay. All right, so a lot of similarities still. All of this is the same here. Some of these drops are the same, flippers are the same, but we've added these two turnarounds specific to Rolling Stone. This inline, which is it's basically a mirror of what you might see on like a Globetrotters. VUK is still up here, like in Viking, and all these top lanes are the same as Playboy and also Viking and Matahari, except that on Matahari and Viking there's a saucer here, but these other games just have regular lanes. All right, so now this is Rolling Stones. All right. Okay, one small detail here. I think these four are supposed to be one up. So let's figure out where was that? Okay, so we don't need that one, but we do need 44C. Let's see, 44E. There. Okay, so yeah, this needs to be one up, because otherwise you can't hit this. You can't hit that target, but you should be able to hit it from here. All right. Okay. Now, what if we wanted to make one of our own games? All right, so let's say, what if we wanted half Rolling Stone, half Viking? All right, so how do we do that? Okay, so let's think about how we would do half Rolling Stone, half Viking. All right, so maybe we want one of these thumpers in the lower section, but one turnaround. Let's see. Let's put a thumper here. And we'll keep this VUK there. Don't need that. We'll keep those drop targets. Well, let's add this turnaround here for Viking. These inlines like that. A target there. Let's see, where is that? All right, yeah, let's put a spinner there, and then let's see. Don't need that. Don't need that. We want to keep that turnaround. Keep that turnaround there. Don't need that turnaround. We still need this and the drop. We'll take that out, we'll make that a VUK. Yeah, let's take out that. So we've got a spinner here, and we want VUK up top. Let's see. Yeah, don't need that, don't need that. Need these. We're just cycling through here to see what we might want. Okay, what we do need those, we need to get rid of, oh, you can also do fit here. You can move this around. We do want to get rid of this thing. So where is that? Nope. yeah, we want, since this is going to be part of Rolling Stone, we want that. We need that turnaround. We need that, but we don't need that. Okay, so we took that out. All right. Okay, so what do we have here? We have basically half Viking, half Rolling Stone. So we have the thumper down here, like on Viking, and an inline target here, and a turnaround. We put the spinner in here, so that allows us to actually get up into this area, which would be much harder because neither of these pathways on the side come back up into here. So this middle shot allows us to get back up into the top lanes. We also have this VUK on the side, like in Viking, but we also have these Rolling Stone drop targets and targets here, and then this turnaround. Okay, so now we have basically a mix. We've created a mix of Viking and Rolling Stone in a single game. And as I mentioned before, to save this layout, you can go to Export CSV, and you could name it whatever you want and put it into here. I'm not going to do that now. But then you could also export this as a DXF. And I usually put them in a separate file export. You could export this as a DXF and then import that into your workflow to cut your playfield. All right. Now, what about artwork for this? All right, so you also would want to be able to do new artwork for your new game. Let's export this, and let's call it new game. New game 1. All right. Okay. Now let's go to the next step. Like, how would you do the artwork for this? All right, and I'm going to show you how to put that into Inkscape. So we exported our DXF, and we want to put it into, open it in Inkscape. All right, new game, DXF. Now you notice that all these lines are not the right, they import at random line thicknesses. So the first thing we're going to want to do is change all these line thicknesses. All right, so select all those, and we're going to change this to pixels, make it 2 pixels. Okay, and then, so yeah, that's a lot easier to see. And then we're also going to make this, we want this to, we want to resize our canvas to that so it's easy to see. Okay, so now you have your playfield layout, your newly designed playfield layout in Inkscape. And we're going to clean up these layers, but these are all layers that came in from your DXFs, and you notice some of these are for, give you cut information, like 1/8 inch bit, 1/2 inch depth. Other layers would be for like the components, top component, bottom component. And what we want to do is now that you have this in Inkscape, you can start designing your artwork on top of where what your cut file is going to look like. All right. But again, you can take your DXF and also import it into VCarve and then cut it from there. And in this scenario, like all of these blue lines are the cut lines for the DXF. Everything that's in blue is a cut line for your VCarve. All right. The magenta are top components, and the cyan are bottom components. So you should be able to turn those all on and off by color. All right, and then you can save this as an SVG and then start building your artwork on top of that. And you notice that this SVG will exactly match the DXF you created. All right, so that's what I've got so far. I will update this as we go, maybe do another video. And as I said at the beginning, you can download this from GitHub, and you could even branch it and start modifying it, or put in pull requests or whatever. And you could also add your own DXF files to this. All you have to do is add your own DXF files into this folder, and then they will be selectable for you to add your own components. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching.